Okay. Focus up. There we go. Things looking good? Cool. Everything cool. Alright. So we got a few things that we gotta discuss, that we gotta talk about. That outside, a new target goal, 365 days of clarity. A new practice to kind of instill and further push what it is that I'm already trying to kind of put myself on in terms of a road. Haven't drank, haven't done any drugs, haven't even smoked. I haven't had the urge to. Outside of that, too, I find myself in a place, in a state, where the very thing that I was practicing, what I was pleading for, what I was putting in my mind, what I was putting to the very desire at the front of my cortex, I don't think that's proper term, but at the top of my mind was, where's my phone? Give me a second. Everything. Alright, that's enough of that. There's that song by Stevie Wonder that he performed live, Close to You, that's on my mind so much, and I can't stop listening to it. Outside of that, let's go ahead and get back on track of what it is that we're meant to talk about. We have finally found ourselves 2 projects to finally take upon. The first one that I've been in talks with and I've worked towards getting further on is a business card, which isn't too difficult to do. I came into talks with the owner of a gym that I go to that's local here, and I was looking for a place to promote my business cards, right? Here, my God, there you go. To promote my business cards to get more potential clients. The owner agreed. The owner told me straight up, yeah, that's fine. Like, that's cool. That's what it's there for. Do you do business cards by chance? I do. I didn't actually do that. That's kidding. But he came to me and he asked me, do you do business cards? And I was like, yeah. He's like, by chance are you able to do our shit, that's personal information, let me not flash that. Can you do our business cards? You know, we've been here for a while, we could use one. Okay, cool, that's fine. I could do that for you. What I did foolishly, which I will admit, is I walked off before I could get the information that I found, and I finally got about 2 days later for what it is that he wants on this business, what he wants on this business card. That being the logo, the 3 locations, the phone number, the website, and the name of the gym. ¿Vale? Yeah. Pretty sure she's talking about the raids for Pokemon Go. I've been playing that as of late too, and it's been pretty fun. Very, very fun to get back into it. We fought Shadow Palkia. My motherfucker was whooping our ass, bro. How the fuck you fight a dragon that get bigger over fucking time? Let me stop this cursing. That doesn't look good. It doesn't feel appropriate to the video of what it is that I'm trying to get at outside of that. That means I should probably charge my phone. On the day that you were born, the angels came together. They decided to create a dream that's true. Alright, that's enough of that. Anyways, to get back on track, I finally got that information. And I told him, given that he wanted to squeeze in those 3 locations, I told him, okay, based off of that, there might be a possibility that I do or don't squeeze it in horizontal, but I can possibly make it work vertical. So I got on my notepad, started sketching out a bunch of thumbnails. Boom, 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 boom. I did about 10 in total, to where I finally came up with one that worked best. I think I'm gonna do a small minor adjustment, because for the original, what I will show you, right, I have a lot of the main information on the right side, which is this side, which doesn't work. What I think I might do, which might be more important, is to have all the locations on this side, because there's more to look at, and then lead on to what it is that's contact information, right? Possibly 2, I could squeeze in the email. I could recommend it, but it's all based upon what it is that he thinks is appropriate. It is his business card. I think I might throw it in there as another point of reference for contact, because you already have the email, not the email, the website, you already have the phone number, and to have no email just kind of leaves people in a position of like, who do I email? This is for the people that are outside of my generation, that are older. So people that are more used to that way of communicating, there's that option to where they don't have to look for it and seek it out in the website if they're not used to it. It just kind of accounts for everybody. Thought that thing was moving because I was looking at it through the camera right here. Anyways, so we came up with the vertical version. I mean the horizontal version being this guy. The gem is O'Malley's that I'm helping out with this. The owner, there you go. The owner, Tim, very cool, very kind people, was able to get me the EPS file for the logo, because this one I kind of had to pull from the website, which didn't give me the full thing, and you could kind of see, just barely, how it cuts out the weights right there, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Oh, excuse me. So you have the backside right here for the vertical version, and then right here where you have almost like a, bro, can you, there you go. All the information where you have the number at the top, you have the website right there, and then below that, boom, 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 all the locations. We'll have to play with this version because for me, it kind of made it easier to rather than just have 3 little pin drops to show all 3 locations, to just put at the top. I thought that would be more simplified. That might be a lot easier. But given that I got some feedback to where they want me to try something at that, to try it from the side, okay, I might do that. What it would be, where what I would do was I would make everything left aligned instead of centered, put the icons to line up with the O'Malley's, and then kind of structure it better so it just flows, so it kind of outlines a box without having to draw the box. So that is one client. The second client, this one I know I do have, came to me on behalf, and just kind of out of respect, well, yeah, I guess for people here in Oregon that kind of helps, contractor by the name of Marquez. Very, very cool, very kind of people. Had a good conversation with him. I was telling him about how it is that I'm studying. I'm trying to find clientele, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna give you a shot. I'm looking for a logo as it is. Okay, this and that. Like for me, it was a thing where I was asking questions right there off the bat. What kind of business do you do, this and that? And he said he does roofing, he does cleaning for housing and all this kind of stuff. Essentially construction, a lot of sidewalk, a lot of construction-esque work. Perfect, that's what I need to know. Immediately, the first thing I did, because he also told me he wants me to restructure his whole business card. The thing that I found so far to be kind of I don't want to say wrong, but the thing that I saw that could definitely use correcting, right? Especially when you look at the business card. And this is in all good faith in terms of critique when I say it, nothing malicious. When you look at one side of the card, all right, you get this right here. Good presentation, good contrast. Probably use like a brighter color so that lawnmower stands out a little bit more, so less, but the green and yellow ain't too bad. It's pretty good. The black with the green, especially in certain light where it's a little bit darker, could make it a little bit harder to see in terms of like, this is just daylight and the shadow of my hand right there. Like if you're here, it possibly makes it a little bit more difficult, right? This is not me trying to like exaggerate a little bit. No, I'm giving it a decent amount as it is, especially distance, I guess, to make it a little bit more fair. Let's put it up a little bit closer and show that. So like that's like in the dark would be kind of harder. So for that already, this great start, amazing, beautiful, just could use a little correction. This is one side of the card, and you guys already saw the other side of the card, which is this guy. So these are both related to where you have one side which screams one brand, one company, and then you have another side that screams another brand, another company. You got two different styles in terms of color and I guess you could call it palette, to where it just kind of makes it possibly confusing for the for the client that does get this, because they might look at this and think it's one thing, and they might look at this side and be like, I don't understand. Is this all one company, or is it different? What I think I might do is definitely correct the hierarchy, which for this one, it's going to be a thing where he kind of shows a lot of the information here from what I'm seeing. So it's tree cutting, gutter leaf cleaning, pavers, windows, new and replacing, decks, new and repair, stairs, yard maintenance, retaining walls, hedge and tree pruning, install sod and turf roofing. A lot of this information, quite important, quite viable to give the people a better idea. What I think I will do is prioritize all this information that he has, put it on one side, and from there put the other important information so it doesn't feel as I don't want to say cluttered, but essentially not as loud, because when you look at one side of the business card, you got a lot of information where obviously the more important thing that he wants you to look at first is the logo. Past all that, the second thing that I'd scream that would get your attention outside of the fence would probably be the name that comes right after, because we read from left to right. You have to realize that. So from here, I probably, in my guesstimate, say you go from here, read this, and then go to this. The next biggest thing that you would probably look at, given that it's the next biggest thing, would probably be the phone number and this and that. So overall, in terms of to begin with, for a start, for layout and everything, I'd say pretty solid, pretty good. If it was something that he did, I say good job, good start, very very neat. If it's a thing where he did design it himself, okay, that's pretty good. Just a couple minor adjustments that I would do to make it a little bit more simplified and easier to consume. For me, the biggest thing for this logo, right, that I was looking at was definitely construction, in terms of what can I do, what can I make that simplifies. It's his. On top of that, kind of relates to construction work in terms of maintenance and everything all else above that. And what I came up with, obviously, the same old practice, kind of like I had told you guys a while back that I've been doing. Get the fuck out, man. Damn. Where you at? There you are. The two nouns. My two nouns being building and structure. So to begin with, off bat already, it was a thing where I played with the M in Marquez, and from there kind of started making like a bunch of housing out of that to really push on that idea for construction. The simpler, the easier it is for somebody to identify who it is. So for one, I want people to identify Marquez, and I also want to identify that it has something to do with housing. What's the best way to do that? What if you use the structure of the M, right? Put that together, put a roof over it in terms of a triangle. The first thing that you'd probably identify, I'd hope, I'm assuming, is a house. That's at least with the execution with this, right? You got a minor little M right there that kind of like forms within the shape of everything, from the triangle to this guy, whatever that thing is. Same thing with this guy, where I try to do MGC, Marquez General Contractor, MGC, but the one big problem that I would see with this guy would be that the GC, especially if I try to do it to that same level of thickness, would probably start to disappear and become, especially when scaled, harder to see. So what I think the route that I might go, is I still have to crank out these 50, is continue playing with the ideas, keep going at it, and keep doing other stuff to make it work, and see what comes out of it. Because to begin with, I did have the idea, the mindset, there you go, to do 50 thumbnails. What I think I might do, given that the construction side of it is a little bit more simplified, and there's a lot of what do you say, there's a lot of creativity within the logos for construction, because like the one thing that I do like especially when I was looking at referencing, was you have people that use like tools to create a house. Okay, that's beautiful, that's perfect. Bro, get that shit out of here. Those are icons. You have this guy right here where they have a hammer, forms a house right there, and then like a hacksaw. I think I might have gotten that wrong. People that are in construction, please take it easy with the comments. Outside of that, the one that I thought was very, very clever, but doesn't relate to construction, but it's more so home service, is this one right here. We have like a super simplified, but the only thing that I'd find wrong with this one is, especially when scaling, it might be a little bit more difficult to discern, especially like when you think about it. If it gets embroidered onto a t-shirt, some tools will be easier to identify, others, especially depending on how the machine executes the whole task. But upon looking at it, you have a lot of things where it's just like simplified letters with the tool, all this and that, rimrock construction, the R with the nail, the hammer and the nail, the hammer for the R, there we go, helmet, initial house, initial helmet, initial house, and then it's like initials, kind of giving it perspective in terms of like possibly building a house. So there's a pattern there already, right? So I think the one thing that's going to be difficult is how can I create something that screams construction, is super simplified, is scalable and easy to not only put upon like he wants it on like on a magnet that could go on the side of the truck and display his company. So it's not nerve-wracking, but the one thing that for me for sure that I do want to get at and try is to give him something that's super simplified, super easy, but also screams him. When you see this, I want you to think of him, right? This is something that identifies as his brand, right? Whenever you see something like this or see something that's close to it, the first thing you think of is him, Marquez. So that's currently what it is that we got going on. I can't really be too mad at how things are playing out, because this is something that for me for sure I've been striving for, I've been happy to, and the fact that it's finally presented itself in terms of like I finally have the opportunity to work that position and pause to work that position and finally give that kind of service that I know I'm capable of doing. It kind of opens doors. It's been a struggle. It's been a bit of a struggle in terms of trying to find myself, but it's something that where you have to continue believing. If you don't believe, if you don't feel you're ever gonna get it, you're never gonna get it. But if you continue to, hey, one of these days, and then when it finally does happen, it won't come off as such a surprise. Outside of that, I'll be super honest. I haven't been day trading, given the fact that I've just been putting it off. I've been slacking on it. I will hold myself accountable to that, and it's a bit sucks, but it's something that I'm also not wanting to give up on, because it's something that's still of interest. But given this, it's been something that I've been putting at priority, and I haven't been putting at the top of my task. I'll be honest, I've been putting it off because I've been getting distracted by social media. I've been doing other things like this, and I've just been working on getting on track with this new fitness plan in terms of I'm adding cardio now, I'm sweating more, I'm walking out, I'm doing all this other stuff. So it's a thing where maybe, just maybe, to make sure that I'm back on top of things, get back on reading in terms of Audible, because I've been listening to lectures. What else? Spend time more wisely, do my history, do my research, and stop slacking off. I think the one thing that's for sure changed me a lot and helped me kind of change direction where I'm going right now is one of my buddies for sure had a kid as of late, and I think post him having a kid, it's just kind of changed a lot of things to where it's like, dog, you're 27, you ain't got no girl, you ain't got no house, you ain't got no income like that. And it's a thing that definitely makes you really look at your situation and be like, shit, well, what am I doing? There's nothing wrong with that. Here's what I'm going to tell you. For those of you that feel at any point in time in life, you're going nowhere. First off, when you think like that, you are not going anywhere. You have to believe that there's something there for you to do in this life. If you give up on yourself, if you give up on yourself and you don't believe that anything good will come of it, nobody else is going to think that for you. If you don't believe that you can save yourself, nobody's going to save you.
And I don't mean that in harsh context or anything like that for anybody to be like, damn, he's right. Like, fuck, what a dickhead. No, it's I don't want to say it's true, but it's like, you have to believe, right? You may not find it today, but you're going to find it one day. It doesn't matter if you're 30. It doesn't matter if you're 40, 50, 60, 70. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I can't give up. You're never going to get it. Bro, don't listen to them fools, bro. Honestly, you can't. And it's one thing that for sure I've had to kind of reassure myself on and get myself back on track. Because it was a thing where, like, for me, a little bit, I won't even lie, I was like, fuck, I don't know that I am going to find somebody. Up until finally it happened, where one day I was like, hey, I'm looking to advertise myself and get more clientele to work with. Is that cool? And then, boom, that popped up. Today I'm talking with another dude, this and that. You know what? Here, I want to work with you. Boom, there goes another one. Oh shit, damn, that's crazy. If people like how you work, if people like how you make them feel, not in terms of like manipulative or what it is that you do, like gaslighting, because that's not what it is. If you just make them feel good in terms of like the product that you deliver, at that point, you're getting that much closer to the type of life that you want, and you have to realize that. You have to, because if you don't realize that, hey, bro, good luck. You'll figure it out. So, outside of that, I gotta get going, because the moms want to play some Pokemon Go. I'm gonna post this for tomorrow. We got another video coming out on Saturday, and I got a couple of other things that I want to get into, especially possibly breaking down like the idea and how it is I'm going for these vector logos. Peace out, guys. Have a cool one.